The lofree Flow 2 is a precision instrument, impossibly slim and elegantly designed. It may not be as playful or cozy as some keyboards out there, but it's understated and graceful, and it could be the perfect addition to your desk setup. The first thing you'll notice about the Flow 2 is the way it picks up light on that unibody aluminium housing. It's been sandblasted for texture and low glare, and it really does gleam in the sunlight. It's kind of astounding just how well it sits alongside Apple's silver devices. This is intentional because there's also a space grey colourway which looks equally good. If Apple were to design a mechanical keyboard, it would be this one. It sits so low and flush to the table that you probably will need to make use of the kickstand, which opens up at varying degrees depending on the size of the keyboard you buy. This is the 84 key version. There are also 65 and 100 key versions available. When you do flip out those kickstands, which also cover up the connectivity switch for Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz, it almost feels like you're opening up a compass across your desk. This does add extra length to the keyboard, but it also means it can stay stable even in a very low posture. Despite its slim appearance, lofree have also found room for a battery upgrade compared to the original Flow, going from 2000 mAh up to 3000. They've also added in a unique feature, which is this slide bar on the right hand side of the keyboard, which allows you to control either volume or keyboard brightness. While I admire the ingenuity and simplicity of this feature, it's not quite as precise as I would like it to be. I find it quite hard to cycle less than 2 volume toggles at a time, and if you pick up or touch the keyboard, you can unintentionally whack the volume to deafening heights. The good news is you can just disable this feature by holding the function and spacebar for more than 3 seconds. On this version at least, because there is a function row, you can also just dial in the volume with more precision using the function. There is also a slight quirk in using the function row compared to other keyboards that have been designed for Macs. That is, you do have to press down the function key when you're using F1, F2, etc. to access those smart macOS features. If you just press F4 on its own, it will just function as an F4. That probably sounds really intuitive, and to be honest, it does fix an aspect of macOS where you have to generally choose how the function rows work in total. It makes it a lot easier if you spend a lot of time in Excel, for example, and you want to cycle through relative or absolute references. But if you are primarily using the function keys to access things like expose, then it might not be as convenient as some other keyboards. That said, this is also just another reason that this keyboard begs to be used with a trackpad rather than a mouse, because you'll still get access to some of those actions using gestures on the trackpad. And to have a keyboard that sits so close to the desk, it can actually be a much more comfortable and overall more aesthetically pleasing experience to just use a trackpad. So let's talk about what this is actually like to type on. One thing I'll point out is that because the actual keys are kind of off-center on this keyboard, it can trick your mind sometimes and you'll find yourself gravitating towards the wrong position. We all know that I'm not the best typist in the world, but this is definitely a keyboard which feels like I want to learn how to touch type properly so I can get the very most out of it and use it the most comfortably. The keycaps though are really comfortable. They have a re-engineered profile on this version of the Flow, which better fits your fingertips, and you'll find yourself just really settling into a groove. My keyboard came with the Mac keycaps installed by default, but there are also Windows keys if you want to swap them in. One thing to be aware of is that this keyboard doesn't actually come with a keycap puller, so you will need to pick one of those up separately if you don't have one already. When you do lift off those keycaps, you'll see just how exceptionally designed this has been from the outside to in. The switches have a harmonized stem and housing for a clean look. Lofree have even redesigned the LED diffusion for higher brightness and per key clarity. I will say they sound a little bit metallic in this body. That might be something that you like or don't like. So why don't we go into a sound test and see if you can pick up on it for yourself. As with any mechanical keyboard, some things will just be a matter of taste. You might find that to sound a little bit too metallic for your liking. You may also think that this is a little bit too mature and sober for what you really want out of a mechanical keyboard. It really is a matter of taste, and I believe this is probably the most beautiful keyboard that I've ever reviewed. It's perfect for a smart, mature and minimalistic setup, especially if you're in deep with either silver or space grey Apple products. And I feel really confident that if you do pick this keyboard up, you're going to love it. There's a link in my description if you want to order the lofree Flow 2 for yourself. And if you want to look around, see what other keyboards there are out there, check out this video here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.